Once upon a time, I worked for this company. It was a sales job, and they had this thing that they did called IPA Fridays. And what that was the last day of the week, everybody would drink an IPA or a couple towards the end of the day. And what an IPA was a type of beer. At least I'm reasonably certain. I didn't drink, so I never partook. However, there was this one guy that I worked with who would drink legitimately like 12 beers at a time and be reasonably okay. He would be mildly intoxicated, like to the point that he probably shouldn't be driving a car or doing any sort of other fine motor skill activities, but the amount of okay that he was for having drank 12 beers was absolutely insane to me because, again, I don't drink. I have zero alcohol tolerance. However, this gentleman did not work out because it was hard and he did not like being sore and a whole bunch of other dumb shit like that. And what that led me to think of is the amount of conditioning that it must have taken this guy to get to the point where he could drink what I assume to be an entire case of beer. I don't know how many beers are in a case, but you understand the point. Was insane, because this isn't just something that you were born with. Much like pain tolerance, alcohol tolerance is built up through exposure to alcohol and partaking and drinking. So he drank so much throughout his life, and he was young, early 30s, but he drank so much throughout his life that he had brought his alcohol tolerance up to a level where he needed over a dozen beers to actually get drunk, if that so happened to be his goal. And what I thought about was the amount of pain and unsuffering and uncomfortability that he had to endure to build that tolerance up to that level must have been through the roof, because he still got hungover. He would come into work all of the time talking about how he was hungover and he felt like shit and whatnot. So he went through all of these other times, or he must have went through all of these other times where he got hungover from much less alcohol. And despite the fact that he woke up the next day with his head spinning and throwing up and fucked up vision and all of that whatnot, he still continued to go out drinking probably that exact same night, completely undeterred by the discomfort and the pain that he was feeling from the actions that he had partaken in the previous night. And through continuing to do this thing, drinking, and then continuing to ignore the pain the next day, the hangover, he built up his tolerance to a point that he could drink probably more than most people. I don't know how much most people can drink, but it doesn't matter. You understand the point. The point is, he was willing to go through all of this. He was willing to trade in that pain for the ability to be able to drink more. But he was not willing to go through the pain of working out. He was unwilling to be sore the next day from a workout. He didn't want to go to the gym and wake up the next day with sore muscles, but he was perfectly fine going to the bar and waking up the next day barely able to stand up. Absolute insanity to me. So his problem was not some sort of pain aversion. It was just that he had the wrong priorities. And this is what most people suffer from. Most people act like they don't want to have to deal with something hard in order to get to where it is that they would like to go. However, that is not at all their problem, because people go through all kinds of hard shit. People go through all kinds of painful shit. People go through all kinds of uncomfortable shit all of the time. People are willing to go out and get drunk and wake up the next day hungover. That's pain. People are willing to walk around completely out of shape, fat ass stomach and jiggly arms and all of that whatnot, and then they put on clothes and they feel uncomfortable in all of them because they look terrible and it makes them feel self-conscious about it. That is discomfort right there that they are putting themselves through. They go and live their whole entire life barely able to pay bills or afford to do anything that they want to do, and they don't get to live in a house that they want to live in. They drive a car that is in no way their dream car. They see other people driving around in nice cars and wish that was them. That is also uncomfortable, and that is also painful. But people are willing to endure all of these pains, but not put themselves through the pain that it's going to take to progress them throughout life. They are unwilling to go through the pain that it will take to get in shape. They are unwilling to go through the pain that it will take to make more money. They are unwilling to go through the pain that it will take to make them become the better version of them. But they are more than happy to participate in all of the pain that is destroying their life. Because their issue is not being uncomfortable. Their issue is not going through pain. Their issue is not struggle and or sacrifice, because they do all of that every single day as a result of their actions. The problem that they suffer from is perspective, because they are willing to put themselves through the pain on the back end. They are not willing to do the things that cause them pain on the front end, but they are unaware of the fact that all of the stuff that feels good in the moment, the eating all of the food, the skipping the workouts, the sleeping in, the getting drunk, the procrastinating what it is that you were supposed to do to play video games or hang out with your friends or sleep in late or binge watch that Netflix show or whatever the case may be. All of those things feel good in the moment, but the pain from that comes on the back end. Once those things are done, you have to deal with the repercussions of them, but people are aware of that, and they are actively, quite honestly, taught something different, because there is a narrative going throughout society that it is important that you always do what it is that feels good to you and makes you happy in the moment. But doing what makes you happy in the moment comes at a cost, and that cost is once those things are done, now you have to pay for having done them. But when it comes to the things that will make you better, when it comes to getting in shape, when it comes to making money, when it comes to building yourself into the type of person that can have good relationships, and that be friendships, would that be romantic, whatever the case may be, when it comes to increasing your intelligence, when it comes to increasing your bank account, those things require the pain and sacrifice up front. But on the back end, you get to reap the rewards of that. But people want the rewards first, even though that leads to the bad stuff after. But that is, again, just how life works. There is always a trade-off. Every single thing has a cost. You have to pay for whatever it is that you might receive, that you want to receive. The question is, are you going to pay now, or are you going to pay later? Are you going to pay with your nows, or are you going to pay with your laters? Because if you want to have all of the good, fun, lovely, good feeling, happy-go-lucky shit in the moment, you are going to pay with tomorrow. If you are going to sacrifice your today for your tomorrow. But if you want all of the actually truly desirable stuff, if you want the big houses and the nice cars and the attractive women and the abs and the chest and all of that whatnot, and the big bank accounts, and you want to be smart, you want to be well-spoken, you want to be able to handle yourself in situations, you want to be confident and charismatic and all of that nonsense, that's going to cost you your today. But when you pay that today, what you are getting in exchange is tomorrow. Everything in life has this sort of trade-off, but most people pick the wrong thing. And if you are not where it is that you want to be in life, if you are somebody who is still sitting there wishing how you were in shape, or wishing that you were in shape, or wishing that you made more money, or wishing that you had better this, better that, whatever the case may be, it is because you have not understood the fact of what it was that you were sacrificing. And most people go their whole lives sacrificing tomorrow for today. I did this same exact thing for most of my life. I went through years of putting off working out because I didn't want to do it in the moment. And in the moment, that felt good. But years down the road, I was now someone who had years down the road of skipped workouts, as opposed to someone who had years of completed workouts. So all of the things that felt good in the moment accumulated to smack me in the face at the very end, or at the very least later on, because it was at the end totally obviously, but they accumulated to smack me in the face for having done them. The universe will always come in and collect. If you want to have good times, you have to pay with bad times. If you want to have good times, you have to pay with bad times. And then again, the bad times lead to the good times. It's all what it is that you want most. And the thing that you have first is going to be the thing that you have the least of. of. The thing that you have last is what you are going to get to experience the most of. So when you sit there and you enjoy your burgers and your beers and all of that other nonsense, you get to have that enjoyability for a little while. But when the price of that hits, which is you being fat and unhealthy, you're going to have to deal with that much longer than you got to enjoy doing the thing to begin with. And on the other end of it, when you go through the working out and the dieting and all of that whatnot, turning down the other stuff, the result of that is going to last you much longer than the work that you put into it. You're still going to have to put in the work, sure, but the work is going to be much less difficult, and the reward is going to be much greater than the reward that you got from the good feelings from eating the shitty food or whatever it was that you were doing to begin with. So that is life. Life is a trade-off. What is it that you truly want? Do you want to feel good now, or do you want to feel good later? And again, if you feel good later, you get to feel good longer, but you don't just get to have things. There is no such thing as an easy life. There is no such thing as free living. Every single thing has a cost. The price of pain is pleasure, and the price of pleasure is pain. It all depends what you want first and what you want last, what you want now and what you want later. But no matter what it is that you are doing, you are sacrificing something. And no matter what it is that you are doing, you are going to hurt in some capacity. So the question is, are you going to be hurting from doing things that feel good now, or are you going to hurt so that you can do the things that feel best later and collectively?